So this video is a typical workout for me. I just sort of move around however I feel like I need to loosen my body up and kind of get all the kinks and knots out. And my favorite way to do that is with a nice long headstand, which really gets my blood flowing, and then I also spend an awful lot of time in a forward fold, which is what I'm going to do next. This headstand is going to be about 2 minutes and 15 seconds long, and it's just a static hold, straight, pin straight. I forget if these arms are tripod. I think tripod arms are when your palms are down on the ground. This is, with my hands clasped behind my head, and I really just cannot remember what that is called. But I would say this is a classic yoga headstand. So I'm going to just hang out here as long as I can. And what's happening, staying really still like that requires a lot of fast twitch muscle work to stay really still. And you can just kind of see as I'm breathing and moving a little bit, my legs sway slightly. I might pull my shoulders back or down here and there. And I'm really not engaging my core as actively as I would like. I can see, the breath, the proper breath happening, but I am working, I still have a lot of work to do to get that Uddiyana Bandha and the belly breath and the hollow body position. My belly still pooches out quite a bit, and I still have a pretty strong arch in my back. And a lot of what I do in the forward folding is work to release the upper back across the shoulders, which will allow me to gain that hollow body position a little more effectively. So now I'm pretty warm from the headstand, and so it just felt like a good time to do a couple of hip openers, and also just to release my back in a child's pose. Coco's always ready for a kiss, always nearby. My hips were pretty sore because I had done a really deep hip stretch for about 3 minutes just the night before, so I was still pretty sore from that. I was about to get up to do a forward fold, and then I realized that my toes needed to be stretched out and my feet. I am still healing a mild break in my foot, in my right foot, sort of on the ball of my foot, but on the pinky toe side. And miraculously, I have been able to bend my toes fully on that foot for about 6 weeks. And I just feel, a little bit of stiffness there, but it's the jumping, any kind of jumping or bearing weight on my foot evenly, on all the 4 corners of my foot. That is where I get into trouble. So I end up compensating into the inside of my foot, sort of caving my foot in, and that's really bad for my posture. So I have avoided squats, deadlifts, burpees, dancing. I did a lot of dancing with a lot of jumping, and I haven't been doing any of that because all of those activities cause me to turn over onto the inside ball of my foot, and it's just not worth wrecking my posture, which I've worked so hard to realign these muscles in my back, that I'm just not going to do things that are going to cause me to crinkle my back up even more or twist it up. And that's what happens, I think, a lot when people have injuries, is they keep trying to do all of the same stuff and they compensate in different ways that cause, their musculature to misalign and overdevelop. And I already have a problem with an entire side of my back is overdeveloped, and I've been working for a year solid to lengthen that and to gain symmetry in these muscles. And you can still see when I'm bent over that the right side of my back sits a little bit higher than the left. It's not as obvious today as it was a year ago, but a year ago when I would be bent over in this position, you would very noticeably see the right side of my back curving up much higher. It had more muscle, but a shorter, tighter, bunched muscle, and it really twisted my whole body. It made one leg shorter than the other slightly. My arms didn't match up exactly. And for the types of things that I want to do with my body, symmetry is really important, because to be able to control your body in perfect balance throughout space, you need full faculty of your core, and the strength in your core really emanates from the spine and the health of the spine. And all of those surrounding muscles need to be in perfect balance. They need to be flexible and open and free from a lot of fascia, connective tissue that stand in the way of that full range of motion. So that's really the focus of my training, is range of motion. And what I have found in training range of motion is that I've been able to build and maintain a certain amount of muscle mass, just because even what you see me doing here now is I'm putting pressure on my head to put my spine into a bit of traction in this forward fold. And then I'm using my shoulders and my back muscles and my abs and my hips and my glutes and everything, plus all the muscles down my leg to stabilize the whole thing. But what I'm doing then is manipulating my muscles, and I'm finding through my movements little places that are tight or that have some sort of energy bunched up there, anything sort of standing in the way from that movement. And then I just, keep working those areas while pulling on my spine and creating that length. And what I'm able to do then is release these bits of fascia, this connective tissue that was keeping my muscles overly bunched up on one side of my body. And so I've really been able to flatten out my spine and to get some symmetry there also. And I'm changing directions here. I'm going to do the exact same thing, but I just wanted to show the posturing. And what I had just done was tilt or, shift my weight forward into the four corners of my feet. You don't want to be too much in the heels, and you don't want to be on the toes. I lift my toes and I make sure that my weight is distributed between the four corners of the feet. And by doing so, then my hips naturally will come more over my ankles, the sitting bones really in line with the back of the heels and not jetting out, far back over. And then as I'm straightening my legs, that's causing that natural curve behind the knee to sort of flatten out. And that's something you'll notice with really flexible people, is they can sort of overextend or oversplit, and really drive that curve out of the back of the knee. And that's something that I'm working towards also. So just doing a classic yoga forward fold. Oh, I'm scolding Coco because she's got my little boy's toy and chewing it up again. And he'll have a fit when he sees it. But the classic yoga forward fold is something that you should be able to do with your backside entirely up against a wall, and you should be able to pitch forward into the forward folds without losing contact with the wall. So try that. It's incredible. The first time I tried that, I probably made it about 35 degrees into it before I pitched forward. Now I can get down to about where I am at this angle. So just closing that final little gap there. But it's all about opening those hamstrings, the whole back of the legs, all the way. When you get this deep into the forward fold where your belly and ribs and chest are totally in contact with your legs, you are even opening in the hip adductors or abductors, the one on the inside. I can't remember what it's called. But it's a really deep, hamstring stretch, and I find this flexibility very useful and very functional to have, and it makes, I think, for less pain and just less recovery time in all things. And so it takes me a while to get really warmed up where I feel like I can go into a really deep, true forward fold. I want to be able to totally fold in half where my upper body, rests between my legs, and I'm really sandwiched into a narrow space. And part of, my goals and my future is doing performance art. I am an artist. I'm a painter, and I sculpt a little bit, and I do installation art. And the next level for me is performance art, and myself being the character in that performance art, and performing that in apparatus that I have designed and created myself. And so being able to fold in half into a really narrow space is certainly a dream of mine, and to be able to do that in such an extreme way as to be entertaining and even inspiring to other people is really what motivates me on a daily basis to do this work. It's that moment of someone gasping or being excited about what they're seeing my body do. That is the moment that I live for, and it's, what I see when I'm doing this work. And so, it's really fun, and I have been really excited to see on Fitocracy that people are more interested in flexibility and things like that. So enjoy the rest of the video. I'm going to get super deep into this fold, and see you next time. Peace. Once you reach the bottom,